Hi everyone, I'm Steve Coleman, Senior Community Manager on Total War, and I am once again sat down with some of the lovely development team for Warhammer 3. We're going to talk a little bit more about the next DLC and Update 6.0. So before we dive into that, let's do some quick introductions. Everybody knows Rich.
Hello everyone. Yeah, I'm Rich, I'm the Game Director. I look after the entirety of the Total War Warhammer trilogy.
Josh, a new face. Tell us who you are, what you do, and maybe just some highlights of stuff you've worked on in the past.
Certainly. So I'm Josh. I'm a battle designer on the Warhammer 3 DLC team, and I had the absolute pleasure of working on Chaos Dwarfs and of course Thrones of Decay. And yeah, just like with those DLCs, I really can't wait for everyone to see what we've got lined up for this.
Awesome, thanks Josh. And Chris, another new face to our videos. Who are you, what do you do, and what have you done before?
So my name's Chris. I'm the Project Audio Director on Warhammer 3 DLC, and I've worked on various bits of Total War games in the past. I think my favourite, actually, the one I started off with was Warhammer 2 DLC, which was Silence of Fury. So I remember working on the Coatl on that one. That was quite good fun, so yeah.
Awesome, and thanks for being here with us today. Like before, let's jump in with a little update on where we're at with development. So Rich, do you want to give us a little update on what's happening at the moment?
Yeah. We're into the thick of it. So I think last time we said that we were fully, moving into the iteration period. So we're still in that. We're still playing the game. We're still looking at what we need to improve and change. And I think Sean said solve some of the puzzles. So that's what we're still focused on: fixing some bugs, making changes around that. And I'm sure Chris will tell you a little bit more about the audio side of that as well.
Yeah, our team are very, very busy. We're flat out at the moment, so all the amazing work that the character artists and animators and VFX artists have done, it's now all culminating in the audio phase now. So we take all that stuff and our team just help bring the world of and characters from Warhammer Total War to life.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, we'll look a bit more into that a bit later on. Is there anything new that we can reveal today about the factions, like some new units or some bits you've been working on that you'd like to talk about today? I mean, Josh, if we pass over to you, maybe if you want to talk about the Ogres, if there's anything you can reveal to us today about what's coming with them?
Oh, absolutely. We could start off with the Paymaster. Quite an interesting unit because we all know that the Ogres love their meat, but there's also one other thing that they absolutely love, and that's their gold. And the Paymaster sort of serves to be that reminder in the battle that if he dies, or if you're not performing well enough in battle, you're not getting paid. So he'll sort of fulfill that support role that the Ogres don't necessarily have in combat, and will specialise in primarily in enhancing a battle unit's capabilities in combat.
You've been doing audio for Paymaster, I assume, as well. So is there anything you can tell us about that? How's that been?
Yeah, so whenever we're looking at a unit, we're always trying to think about what's something unique about them or some characteristic we want to bring to life with the sound. And so the sound design team have done a really good job bringing out, you'll hear sort of gold and chains and, all clinking around. So it really brings out his characteristics. Yeah, he does like gold. Yeah, he's a big fan of the money. So yeah, that's just helps characterize him a little bit and bring him to life. Yeah.
I think his little Noblar likes it as well. That sits on his shoulder or up by the chest or something.
Does,
yeah.
What else is coming with the Ogres? There's got to be more that you can tell us.
Oh, absolutely. One thing I think people will really like is the Pigback Riders. Oh. It's such an absurd unit when you think about it, when you've got this vast, diverse world where you have giants, demons, and all sorts of monstrosities, and then you've got two Noblars piggybacking on each other. They're a fun unit. They're going to specialise as sort of a early anti-large infantry for the Ogres. Very well coordinated as well, as you can imagine, for individuals such as them on the battlefield.
Yeah.
They'll be a bit difficult to hit, but they'll be well worth the cost and, recruitment in combat. And the other thing I would like to talk about in regards to them is they'll have a regiment of renown.
Nice.
These guys, they're even more absurd. They have ventured into Bretonnia, spent a bit of time there, and sort of enhanced their, let's say, jousting skills. So they'll be bringing a lot of Bretonian gear into combat, all the helmets, the lances and such.
Yeah, I haven't seen the pictures yet, but I've already got an image in my mind of what that's going to look like. So I'm looking forward to that.
They are super cool.
Absolutely.
We're really excited by them. Elite premium ogre cavalry.
While we're on the subject of ogres, what What's been your kind of highlight of working on it so far with this DLC? Like, have you got any favourite units or bits or mechanics that are coming into it that you've enjoyed working on most?
Oh boy, well, they've all been honestly a blast to work on. Our artists and animators have done a fantastic job bringing them all to life. One unit in particular which has gotten me is the Eshin Man-Eater. That's another regiment of renown we're going to be bringing in. And that guy is, well, he spent time with the Skaven, and he has picked up a few stealthy and sneaky skills from Skaven, and you're going to be bringing that kind of unit into the battlefield. Imagine this large ogre who's probably the worst character in the room in regards to stealth, but he still manages to pull it off in combat somehow.
Impressive. Yeah.
For anyone at home, if you're not sure what we're referring to, that's the ninja-looking man-eater ogre. So yeah, he looks really cool, and he's like a pseudo hero, isn't he, Josh?
Yeah.
Because it's just him. It's just one. It's not a unit of them. Yeah. Special guy to play around with in battle.
Absolutely. We don't usually do units, for regiment renowns like that at least, but that's part of what makes him unique.
Is there anything else you can tell us, like any abilities or anything to kind of shout about that are coming with the ogres?
Yeah, one thing in particular is for Golfag. It's an ability called Deadeye. But in this case, since Golfag's one of the more oldest accomplished ogres, he's also been through a lot, survived a lot as well. So during that time, you tend to pick up a lot of skills and proficiencies. In this case, Golfag's learned how to use the pistol to wear down and snipe people from a distance. So the player will be able to pick any target, well, not any target, any character they want, and if they want to wear him down, maybe take a pop shot or even finish him off as they're routing, well, Golfag will be able to deliver that, that's for sure.
Let's have a look at Khorne. Let's not.
Why not?
Let's have a look at Orcs and Goblins. Rich, you're going to tell us a bit.
Yeah.
What stuff are we revealing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked a lot about Khorne recently, so I guess that's why we're not talking about now.
I got my orders, I got my things the wrong way round.
But Orcs and Goblins, there's some cool stuff coming. You might notice on the table, got a few spider riders down there. And there's a big reason around that. We're going to be doing Snagler Grobspit. He's going to be your legendary hero. So like we mentioned last time with Gorbad, that he's kind of a master of all the different, orcs and goblins and trolls and everything that makes up that their roster. This is now the forest goblins that are going to be coming to the party in Snagler. If you don't know too much about Snagler, he's an 8th edition character. He's a forest goblin that rides around a big old giant spider. We've actually had his regiment of renown, his boys, if you like, the Death Creepers, in since, crikey, what was it? Not Warden the Paunch, way back. King and the Warlord. So like really old school. So he's been hiding out somewhere in the Drakwild, and we finally caught him, and now we're sticking him in the game. And as you might imagine, for a forest goblin, he's all about poison. So you can expect some skills and some buffs and abilities all around that, which accentuate not only his skill on the battlefield, but also his Death Creeper units and then his army as a whole. So he's going to be a fun one. Looking forward to seeing him rock up. And then alongside that, we're also going to be introducing a new hero. So that's going to be the Night Goblin Big Boss. And this hero is going to be all about, again, accentuating things around squigs. So as you've seen in the past, we've introduced the Colossal Squig, so I expect him to be able to like wrangle them and do some funky things there. And the other squigs that we've already got in the game. What else have we got? We've got loads more. Black Orcs. So we're doing Black Orcs with shields, something that I know a lot of you have asked for a long amount of time. So they're going to be coming in as a new unit. They've got these really big, scrappy shields with the colourful sort of faces on them, tough as nails, and they're going to be joining the fray as a new unit as a part of the DLC.
Let's take a look at Khorne. Josh, I think you're going to tell us a bit more about some of the units that are coming, some new ones that we can reveal today.
Yeah, so one we can reveal right now is the Lord, the Blood Speaker. Completely new for Khorne. We all know what Khorne's about, all about the fighting, killing for the skulls, the blood and gore and all that. The Blood Speaker introduces a new sort of role for him. So support role, specialises in buffing friendly units around him. But he also encompasses the best of Khorne, which, as I've just stated, fighting everything. So this is a character you can easily have enhance your units in combat just by just getting him stuck in, and he'll be durable for that. That's for sure.
Any others?
Well, we've got Zangors, Pestigors, and now we have Khorngors. And oh boy, they're a really tough unit to say the least. They'll have a anti-large sort of role within the actual roster, so sort of mid. So you can choose in between the Chaos Warriors with Hellbeards or with the Khorngors. But one thing that sets the Khorngors apart is they have the best qualities of a Gore unit from the Beastmen roster. So they'll have abilities such as Primal Fury, Frenzy, and of course, as Khorne is ever so watching combat, if they fall below his expectations, they will certainly get a buff that will make sure that when they kill, they're doing it right.
Khorne sounds like it would be quite a fun one to do audio for. Has there been any kind of highlights of that process that you want to talk about, Chris?
Yeah, Steve. I think as soon as we saw the roster for Khorne, I think it got our team pretty excited. And I know that the Slaughter Brute got one of our team members particularly excited. He's actually a metal singer in a band, and I think it was like a match made in heaven, really. So he wanted to lend his vocal skills. It's quite terrifying, actually, what he can do playing like. And yeah, the Slaughter Brute is without a doubt the angriest sounding creature on the battlefield at the moment. So yeah, I was just reviewing it this morning with the team, and it's starting to sound really good.
You know, we looked at abilities for ogres. Is there any for Khorne, for Skulltaker, that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so he'll have his Cloak of Skulls ability. You'll have various means of enhancing it on the campaign side, but on the battle side, Skulltaker's a character you'll want to send against other legendary lords and lord characters in general. He's very good at one-on-one dueling, but the Cloak of Skulls will sort of enhance his defensive capabilities. In combat, providing he's got lots and lots of kills, his defensive stats will be progressively buffed. So this is a character which you'll send against other characters, ideally with these stats enhanced. So you could get the best out of him and make him even more durable. And let's just say the opposing side will have a really tough time against him.
So are those buffs enhanced by the amount of skulls he's taken, essentially?
Oh yes. Oh yes, you'll want to get as many as you can to max them out.
Little fact about the Cloak of Skulls. As soon as we saw the unit art for that, I said to the team, I want to hear those skulls. Like, it's such a unique cape.
That's very, very morbid, Chris.
It is a little bit. What's probably a bit more disturbing is when one of our team members said, "I got you sorted. Don't worry. I can get some bones." Genuine bones. I didn't ask too many questions other than
you don't do you when that kind of statement comes out.
Other than they were procured by humane means, so that's fine. But when you get up close to the Skulltaker on the battlefield and you hear his cape flowing around, you'll hear real bones on there, which is a bit gross, but it's pretty cool. So yeah.
Humane means. There's no further questions.
I think we'll just leave it there.
Obviously, with all this paid content as well, we also have the free stuff that comes, like the rebalancing, the patching, the bug fixes, the FLC, that sort of stuff. Is there anything coming as part of Update 6.0 that you can talk about?
You betcha, yeah. The team's been working really hard on loads of stuff behind the scenes on that. So let's start with the Greenskins. So the Greenskins are getting an update to the scrap system that we introduced in Warhammer 2 for War in the Paunch. So there's going to be some UI and UX changes there to just help the flow, make it feel a bit easier, get some of those nice upgrades that the Orcs and Goblins need for battle. So that should be a fun one. Now for the ogres, oh Steve, it's an ogre hall. So there's all sorts of stuff happening there. We're going to be having some updates to the Great Moor and the offerings there. But one that I quite like is also what Josh was talking about earlier. So with the Ogre Paymaster, our new Lord, all the Ogre Lords are going to get big names now. So nice. Yeah, it's not just reserved to our legendary Lords of the past. So that's a nice one for them. And then Khorne. Khorne's got a big one. Khorne's got a great one. They got something called the Skull Throne. All their legendary lords are going to get access to this new panel, which will feature a variety of different timed buffs. You're going to be accumulating through battles skulls, and of course, once you've got your skulls, you're going to be spending them in this feature. So you're going to be doing all sorts of things like getting army abilities or spreading Khorne corruption. And as you progressively spend the skulls there, you're going to progress up the tower and then get to some of the big juicy buffs at the end. So lots of skulls and lots of bones, Chris. The bone man over there, indeed.
More skulls for the skull throne.
Not sure I want that particular reputation. It's okay.
So yeah, we've mentioned in the past that the FLC content that's coming with this is going to be for Khorne.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the powers that be have given us permission to say who it is.
I don't know why you're looking at me.
Rich, are you ready? Take it away, Chris.
This time around, our new legendary lord, free legendary lord, will be Arbol, and he is a pretty exciting character to work with because his thing is he wants to fight the biggest, baddest things on the battlefield. So, yeah, we wanted to make sure that he sounded, mean, mighty, and just giving it his all. So the order team, the dialogue team, did a great job in really channeling that characteristic of him.
Definitely a very different take to Skull Taker. So I think between him and Scarbrand, you got three pretty great, Khorne legendary lords here to play with. And as Chris said, Arbol's all going to be about taking on these biggest battles for his feature called the Wrath of Khorne. So he's trying to do all the things in the eyes of Khorne himself, to be that great champion. And yeah, with playing around with ideas, which was playing to his lore as well. So if you dig deep on that, and if you hear about what happens to him if he wasn't to succeed, well, we've got some ideas around that, let's just say.
And that also brings the count to 100, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, can you believe it?
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing achievement. When we first started way back, and many of us have been working on the series for quite some time now, I don't think in our wildest dreams we'd get to that number. We knew there was lots to make, but yeah, it's quite a moment.
Chris, let's talk a little bit more about audio and how all of that comes together. So what's your process, I guess, from like conceptualization of a DLC through to people hearing it for the first time and things like that?
Well, I think any audio team is quite lucky to work on Total War Warhammer because it is such a rich world and as such an amazing character. So it is a playground for us to work in. But our process starts really when we see the unit roster come through and we start seeing some of that concept art, and we can start, as our sort of departments, our dialogue department, sound design department, start planning out what we're doing at quite that early phase. So our really talented dialogue team, they sit down with our designers and narrative team, and they work out what we call a character bio. So this is all the characteristics of that unit or lord or whatever it might be, that how big they are, where they're from, what's their age, what makes them tick, what there's some vocal characteristics that we might be expecting. And from that, they go away to a really extensive casting process, and we get lots and lots of talented actors to come in and read for these parts. And then we do, this casting process is quite extensive. We make sure that we really nail, so everyone's kind of has a score and has an opinion on these things until we kind of go, right, that's the one, that's the match up for those units or that character or that lord. And then the team will do some prototyping on maybe some voice processing, make it may sound a bit corny or maybe a bit more ogre-y. And then finally doing what the team are doing right now is onto the actual recording. So our script writers have put together, really great scripts for the characters. I can't wait for the audience to see what we've got this time around. And our sound design team, meanwhile, even before we start getting animations or VFX in, we can look at these unit rosters and go do our research and look up the lore. What we really like doing is seeing where there's something unique or some characteristic we want to bring out with the sound design. And the great thing about Total War is the scale is from the giant battlefield right down to the thing. So with right up close. So we can make sure that their abilities or their projectiles or their weapons, particularly for our lords, sound really big, so the player knows exactly what's going on in the battlefield, or can have an idea of in that chaos that there's something big and bad happening over there. To the right up close to all the all the character movements. So we break our layers down into footsteps and character armor, so they might have something unique in their armor, right the way to their vocalizations as well. So we spend a lot of time making sure that all that language of stuff is brought together with the sound. So it's a really fun process.
You don't really think about that when you're playing the game and you're hearing all the sounds together, that every single one of those sounds has had like a process that has laid it all together.
There's nothing for free in this, unfortunately. Yeah, we've got to design everything from scratch. But the team have a really good time. It's challenging because the designers, they throw a lot at us, and what they want to do.
It's fun though. It's fun.
Absolutely, and I'm not sorry.
The great thing about with us is we are bouncing off of what the amazing character artists, what the animators, what the VFX team do. So we can help bring all their amazing work to life with the sound, and hopefully the players kind of feel that, so it will feel visceral and feels real, and they have a good time doing it. So yeah.
And you've got some weird techniques, haven't you, on the team, like how you make some of the sounds?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, this time round, we kind of had a bit of a bonus. So when we had the squigs, so we've got the traditional little squigs, and we've got this gigantic colossal squig. It's a chance for us to kind of maybe rework a little bit of the older content that we've got in the game, so we can make the squigs sound even squiggier, a bit gross. But of course we've got this giant one, so we really wanted this guy to just sound really gross. And the team kind of go above and beyond, and there's some when I saw the footage come through the recording session, because we've actually got a team out in Sofia of sound designers, and they really love recording stuff from scratch, and it was quite possibly the grossest recording session I've ever had. I'm pretty sure porridge and yogurt and all sorts of weird squishy things were involved to make, bring out the inner squig from these characters. So yeah, it was quite.
They went above and beyond. Yeah. They really did, and they certainly turned some people's stomachs here when they saw the footage.
Actually, I think we've got the clip that we can show. So roll it. When you're playing and you see the colossal squig and you hear those wonderful sounds, think of that poor dev sucking on porridge.
At least we didn't have to do that, Steve.
But speaking of that,
it's true.
Group recordings.
Recordings, yeah. We love to get our devs involved. So I remember we have these emails that go out and say, right, okay, we need to do a group recording session for our ogres or our Khorne units, and yeah, the team deliver and don't disappoint. And I think that we usually
Thank you.
Yeah. Steve did one as well this time around.
Rich and I, we've done some of the battle cries and stuff like that. So we're in there somewhere.
It was good fun, wasn't it?
It was great, although I couldn't speak for a day.
So. No, I think my voice drops about 2 octaves after that. So everyone thinks I've got some horrendous cold afterwards. But yeah, it's really good fun, and you hear it in the game. You get this, this sound of the army, right? It's and it's the team do a great job processing and layering all this stuff together. So it's the units. You feel them on the unit. It's great.
3, 2, 1.
For the Blood God!
3, 2, 1.
For the Blood God!
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Slaughter!
Perfect. 3, 2, 1.
Slaughter!
And so once the team have done all their incredible work and we've got all the sound design and we've got all the dialogue together, then we start the mixing process. And actually that's the bit I love the most, is actually hearing everything all together, and we start balancing everything against each other. So we make sure that the most important sounds are heard on the battlefield, and all the tiny details when the characters get nice and close are audible as well. And it's just the final sheen, the final polish on everything. Few last minute feedback notes are always natural in this process in our iterations phase, but that's the bit where we kind of put the final final audio polish on it. Yeah.
Awesome. It's got to be really rewarding hearing all of that come together into that final product.
Yeah, so much hard work goes into it from the audio team as well as the wider team, and it's it is the final step that you kind of go, yeah, that's there. We got something good in the bag there.
Just makes it, doesn't it? Just immerses you in into the world.
Well, thank you guys for joining me for this today. It's been really great to give some more information about the next DLC and Update 6.0. We'll be back later this month with the official trailer, as well as some gameplay showcases and things like that on the run-up to release. So once again, Rich, Josh, Chris, thanks again for joining us, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. And I am once again sat down with some of our awesome development team, including Rich, Josh, and Sean. Before we, Sean, it's not your name. Sorry.
Face melt.
I'm obviously pining for Sean.
Music, black and white.
Yeah.
Can we have Sean to floor 1, please?
Change my name here.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.